Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Unlocking Freedom in Nature.
Hi, I'm Lori Beard, and my amazing co-host is Tammy. And we are happy to be here. And we feel like $1,000,000 because we conquered. We conquered technical issues with Facebook not wanting to broadcast in groups. We found a way around it. Um, Thank you, Natalia Nutting, for sending me information, and thanks to other videos and
Lydia.
other resources, we were able to do it. Yes, Lydia. So, and we have today our amazing friend and guest for the second time, Adriana Vela. How are you, Adriana?
I'm doing great. And thank you so much for having me here. This is so much fun. And yay for conquering the technical issue.
Yeah, and so if anybody has any problems, just let it reach out. We'll send you the video that has helped us. But at the same time, I want to make sure, because with the way they're growing, we could have done a feed straight to our Unlocking Freedom in Nature page. So make sure you're signed up there. Because in case something happens again with groups and we're not able to, you can find us there or on our YouTube. And if you're not sure of those sites, just click on our website, unlockingfreedominnature.com. And on the bottom, there's links to everything. So
I am always looking down, and it's not looking down because I don't like to look at the camera. I'm looking down because I'm looking at my phone. That's the way I connect with the community and see who's watching live. And I just want to say hello to Lisa. Lisa is watching live, and we can't wait for lots of other people to come live. The reason we really are persistent about going live in the group is because we love the interaction. We love having a guest or having a conversation between Tammy and I when we don't have any guests, and for people to just watch and submit questions, add insights and reflections and comments. And we love that live interaction. So, and also when there's a replay, we love those comments too, but especially we love those live interactions. So that's why we love that. So welcome everyone, and hello, Lisa.
and Tammy is
And,
here also. Tammy Lillard.
Tammy Leonard. Okay.
Awesome.
Yay. I am grateful you're here too, Tammy. I'm like, what is Tammy saying hello to herself?
Because I do talk to myself. I will admit it. I'm one of those, like when the quote I put on about crazy people, crazy friends. That's me. I know Anna's that way, and I know you're that way, Lori, and that's why we're good friends, right?
It takes one to know one. Like,
Yes.
I love it. I love it. And there's a famous person out there. I don't even know her name. She says, like, I don't know if it's Lisa Nichols. Like, you're supposed to high five yourself in the mirror every morning. So there you go.
No Robbins.
Oh,
No.
really? Okay. Okay.
Yes. In the
So we
mirror.
just lost a little bit of your sound there, Adriana, for some reason.
Okay, let me bring this a little bit closer. I'd like to.
Show us your mic. Show us your mic.
I have to push mine away. You have to bring yours closer.
Yeah, I still haven't totally figured this out.
So for our guests that are on that have never met you, can you tell us a little bit about yourself, and then we're going to have you dive into a little bit of your story and go from there.
Great. Thank you so much again for having me. This is very exciting. So a little bit about me. I have put together a combination of 3 decades of business, technology, and brain science experience that I bring together and I fold it into my books. And my latest book, okay, shameless plug, is
Plug it in. Plug it in.
Go for it.
and this one is a lot or more focused on leadership and that it's in basically making the point that it's time to update your leadership playbook because the leadership playbooks from the past just simply don't work in today's environment, and they certainly won't work in the future. My main goal is to have everyone navigate, especially leaders, navigate their future with confidence. So I teach people how to upgrade their brain for a fast future, one where you can be navigating that. And I'm going to talk about how some of what we can learn from nature to make that point even clearer. So I want leaders to be able to cultivate new leaders. In fact, their job is not to create more followers, it's to create new leaders. And in order to do that, you have to inspire. And I don't know about you, but I don't see a lot of truly inspirational leaders out there. Yes, there are some, but certainly the ones that have, big, that are big company leaders, they don't really know how to inspire, because in order to inspire, you need to be able to connect with your human self and other humans at that level. And the further up you go typically in a corporation is the further away you get from the human level. So it's so important because to undo that and change that playbook, because if we don't, well, clearly they're passing along any future leaders are learning from that, and all they do is perpetuate the problem.
Okay,
It's almost-
Adriana. Yeah, go ahead, Tammy. Sorry.
I was going to say, it's almost like mentorship or discipleship, like from our church always says. It's like you're teaching, you're training up other leaders, and it tells you to do that. And when you're doing that, it's being unselfish. You're having to, you're giving time of yourself, encouraging and inspiring others. And I think it's awesome. But at the same time, as a business owner, you're afraid that when you help somebody that they're gonna like take over your business, or because you hear about people stealing things. So I can see both sides of it, but I also know your story is so incredible, and it's what's made you, and so that's why you think of these things. So
Yeah. Well, so getting back to my, more personal story, and I'll make this short, is I grew up in poverty, as a welfare kid, with a mom who herself was um grew up with, abuse, and so she didn't she was left with kids, no dad, and no education, because she only went up to 7th grade and she was pulled out so she could help in the house. So it was a cultural and unfortunate upbringing, and that's all that she had to give us. And so I mean, poor thing, she suffered a lot, and I grew up as a child watching how she suffered, and she was depressed and just had no way out. At the age of 7, because I was just observing all of this, at the age of 7, I made a really conscious decision, and I rebelled against my mom, who was trying to teach me how to clean houses. Because if I learned how to clean houses, and learn how to cook and all these domestic things, maybe I would be worth a husband who would then take care of me. So that was the thinking. And imagine growing up with that mindset and that cultural, force. I saw that, okay, if she was doing that and she had been doing that, it didn't give her the results that hoped. So then, of course, she blamed herself. So she wasn't worthy, all of that. So imagine just being infiltrated completely in that environment. But at 7, I made the conscious decision. I threw down the broom because she asked me to sweep. And I said, no, I will not, learn how to clean houses. When I grow up, I'm going to have other people clean my houses. And I don't know where that came from, because it's not like I had that, internet or TV or anything, that other influences. So I just said, I just wanted completely the opposite. And that started my rebellious years. At that young age, I was not going to grow up to be like my mom. So everything that she did, I was doing opposite. I pushed and fought to stay in high school and graduate, because that was not the cultural norm. And then I put myself through college because I wanted to be educated. And that was the best thing that could have happened, because from there, I had the opportunity to go to California, Silicon Valley, and be in the high tech world, in global 100 corporations, where I learned a lot and met some of the most brilliant people. So I was like with the cream of the crop, and it was so great. So I've never ever wanted to be the sharpest tool in a group, because otherwise I'm not growing. And I'm going to make a really strong point about this. So keep this one in mind. Never be the sharpest tool in the shed, like they say. But so I purposely, in order for me to get out of that, I had to challenge myself. I had to try new things. I had to explore, cut new paths. I had to adapt a lot as things were coming my way, and all these challenges and adversities. So, the whole thing about leadership, and is my personal philosophy, is that you have to learn to lead yourself first before leading others. And if you have done that, and I don't mean just lead like, okay, yes, go to college. No, it's really lead your life on your terms, and find that courage to do that, even if you've never done it before, because adapting is what's going to help you survive and evolve. And I'm just so grateful that I I adapted, I evolved, I've grown a lot. I never would have thought that I would have written 3 books and that, again, shameful plug, that I would have had a bestseller. This is bestseller in multiple categories. So never would have I dreamed that, or be working with some, beautiful minds. So that's pretty much it as far as my journey and what got me to where I am now. And
Adriana,
yes,
I
ma'am.
just want you keep showing the book, but I want you to hold it for a few longer
I'm going to
seconds.
grab her other book.
Yeah, and I want you to mention, because you mentioned, yeah, please hold it and show us. Do you want to say something, because I think Tammy's screen is showing now. Can you say something, Adriana? Okay, so there's 11 ways to
What a-
improve your human condition.
Yes.
Okay, and
book-
this one is brain science for the soul. So are we missing one book?
Yes, the first one was called New Rules for the VUCA World. VUCA standing for volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity. That
Okay.
was 2019. How to 11 ways to improve your human condition, which, by the way, is the mission of my company, to improve the human condition. And that one I released in 2022. And this one I released this January 24.
Very good. I love the
Awesome.
name brain science for the soul, which is like people don't think they're connected. And we need to learn that it's a whole, it's all together.
Absolutely, Lori, it is. And we don't realize how we erode our soul over time. And a lot of times we think we're doing the right thing, or we are led to believe that we should be doing something, but we might be doing something for the wrong reason, and it doesn't align with our values. And when you have that conflict, that internal conflict, you erode your soul. And that's just one example.
Well, and I love your bravery. You're a warrior to me. So many times people use the excuses. Well, that's just the way I was raised, or because their dad was an alcoholic, or their parents were abusive. They're like, well, they just use an excuse instead of walking away from that and say, I'm going to change. If we don't change and don't own up for our mistakes, we'll never change. And I know you've have quotes about that, about change, how important it is.
Yes, that you just reminded me of another quote. So I'll share my 2 favorite ones. Though there's the one from Stephen Covey who said, I am not a product of I am not a product of my circumstances. I am a product of my decisions. So you make bad decisions, you're going to get bad outcomes. And it's not anybody else's fault.
Responsibility, yeah.
Or yes, it's like it was the decisions that you made that led you that way. We all make mistakes, and absolutely, because we're human, and that's great to be human, because that means we're able to adapt and evolve. We have that capability, but when you don't own your own mistakes and you don't learn from them, which is very important, then you're really doomed to continue to repeat them. So that the other quote that completely speaks to me is that if you are born, and this is from Bill Gates, by the way, if you are born poor, it is not your fault. If you die poor, it is.
Thanks.
So that just means the accountability is on you. When you're when you're a child, you have no real power at all. You can't change things around you. But as an adult, you make your own decisions and you make your own results. And
Right.
it has
I was
nothing.
going to say, here's another quote that I don't know if you can read it.
The 3 C's of life: choices, chances, changes. You must make the choice, take the chances if you want anything in life to change. Adriana, and like that quote, if you are born poor, it's not your fault, but if you die poor, is yours. I think also we think in terms of currency and abundance and wealth. Remember, that is not the only definition, or at least for me in my book, is not the only definition of being wealthy or being rich. It's rich in relationships, rich in knowledge and wisdom. So yes, and that can, of course, as a result, as a fruit of all that, can bring the temporal and the material wealth, which is amazing, or an added bonus. But Adriana, I want to go back a little bit. I wanted to go back for you to show us the 3 books, like unapologetically. Okay, that's your work. You're here. Shout it out. Another thing is looking back with all your brain science knowledge you have right now, when you talked about that little girl that said bye to the broom and said no. There was no social media influencers. There was nothing except for your intuition, your own decision making about being done, fed up, tired of being tired of this thing. What do you call that? What, looking back, that little girl that was so determined to not do what her mom was just like forcefully imposing on her, with the cultural idea, with the emotional idea, it was very limiting, actually. Looking back, what do you name that? Is that taking the driver's seat? Is that consciousness? Is that awareness? What is it?
It really is all of those things. But one term that I use is pure desire, like the purest. So to achieve anything worth achieving, any goals or things, whatever it is that you want to achieve, you have to have a pure intent. So it's pure intention. Pure meaning that it is not infused with things like ego or other elements that taint it, basically. Pure is totally from the heart, and it's almost like being possessed, although I hate to use that. But no, it really is pure, and there's nothing else. It's like you will dedicate your life to doing that, to achieving that goal. So it's pure from the heart, pure from the soul, because it is the right thing. You see something that's bad. And by the way, children are very intuitive in terms from observations as far as what's bad and what's not bad. And when you see things that are bad, bad behaviors, and you see the consequences. So again, kids are very, very intuitive, and they observe everything, but they make their own interpretations.
Mhm.
Mine was just very, very pure. It's like, I don't want that. She makes these decisions and that's the result. Or she tells me this is what you need to do, but doesn't have the results herself. Then I'm like, okay, that's not good advice. I'm going to do the opposite, hoping that you're going to get opposite results. And so I just knew that intuitively from observations, from being aware of what was going on. And of course, feeling the impact, the shame, the criticisms, everything else, which was not good.
Right. And did you find I'm not going to talk much about my childhood here. I went through, we'll just say it wasn't great. And I searched out positive people. I said I was going to change. I was not going to be like that. I wanted better for my family and better for my friends. And I was just working on me. And I always just work on me. It wasn't about changing anybody else. It was working on me. But when I hear somebody saying comments that were from come up from the past, like, oh, and I've heard it before. The same type of people would say, well, you need to know how to clean your house. Well, yeah, we all do know how to clean, but that doesn't mean we want to clean our house, right? That's not our life goals, is to do, because cleaning your house doesn't take that much. So, but does that make sense? We don't want to be labeled that. And I was talking with my sister, who is a therapist, and she's like, so many people are into this label stuff anymore. And it's like, no, you don't need labels. We want to just know who you are.
Exactly. Yes. And thank you for saying that, because my intention for this was to focus on what leaders can learn from nature to build strong features. So let me share, just a story about, this a koi fish. And if you have a koi fish in a small, small pond, it will only grow to a certain size. And it is safe. But if you put that same uh you know koi fish in a much larger pond, now it has a challenge, because compared to the environment, a new environment that is much bigger, it could become prey to bigger fish or bigger animals. And so it has to grow, it has to adapt. And they do. So, and this is true for any organism. To the extent that the organism is safe and stable, it has no need to adapt, because it doesn't have those forces that of nature that, let's say, like whether it's climate change that threatens the food supply for them. If they were contained and they were being fed, they have nothing to do, just stay there because they're comfortable. Well, and I want to say, ladies and gentlemen who are listening, we are not in a stable environment. It used to be from technology trends that technology would change every 18 or 2 years. Now it's like pretty much daily technology changes, and technology is all around us. It impacts us, it impacts companies, and we cannot afford to pretend that we are in a stable environment. So adaptability is key. And any organism in nature does that automatically. We need to do that as humans. And in particular, we need to do that as leaders. So so that's dealing with the external world. Now with the internal world, as you were talking about, Tammy, in terms of like working on yourself, you have to do that because your brain cannot grow beyond its own identity. So you were talking about labels, and yes, if you identify as, such, then everything else that your brain does will be towards that identity, to fulfill that identity. Your brain does not know if it's good or bad or beneficial or whatever. It's what you tell it to do, what you define it to be, what you define yourself to be.
Adriana, what I have found with that is that first of all, about change. I just trained last week in a group coaching opportunity, and it was exactly about that, about adapting and thinking positively amongst the changes in life. And I read a quote that says the only constant in life is change, which is kind of contradictory, kind of like a dichotomy there.
Mhm.
But also, like you're saying, internally, there's some things externally that we cannot control, but it depends on how we control ourselves in those situations. With Tammy's, mentioning the personal development, personal growth, etc., is how when we adapt, is that we're going to develop a lot of character. One thing also, Lisa is watching here, and she has said it also before, but one thing also in our virtual retreat, she was in our virtual retreat, and our identities, what are they? We need to be very, very careful and understand that while we identify with certain identities, we just have roles. So if I am attached to my identity as a mom, then I won't have the courage to confront a business idea that is nagging me in my head, and then I won't want to yield to that opportunity, because then I'm like, nope, I'm a mom, and that's all I know what to do, and that's all I will ever do. I'm a professor, or football players or athletes, when they have an injury, it's so hard for them to detach from that internal identity and definition of who they are. And I love what you're saying about exercising that muscle in the brain of adaptability, because all the time that constant is change. Where I was a mom, young, whatever, energized, now I'm being changing diapers, now I'm a mom of adults with other kind of problems and challenges right now, right? And I'm needing to be a mom, but my role is very different. It's just amazing to see those changes, like menopause is hitting, and physical ailments and joint problems are happening, and I'm not this athlete that I have always been and I just don't like it, but I'm learning to adapt and yield and surrender into those new things, to modify and find new ways.
And
Anyways.
as a formal martial artist, I can say you need to roll with the punches.
Yeah, I know. There was just, Adriana was telling me that I got to spend a lovely weekend last year with Adriana, and I learned so much, and that was so much fun. Just being with her, getting to know her. And if you notice, she didn't come out and say, "Hey, I'm an author, I'm this speaker," and all of this stuff. She came in and she told us what she does, and that's what I love, because it's what people don't really care what you do. They want to know who you are. If you're a kind person, if you're loving, you're caring, every person on here, you are a warriors. Every person has gone through something. This last, I guess it was on Sunday. Was it yesterday? My days are mixed up, so I've been doing so many things. But I went to the movie Unsung Hero, and it was about their life story and the stuff that mom did and the encouraging words. I was crying because it was so real. And it's a great movie if you're going through something.
Speaking of change,
it
right?
shows how we all
they came
go
from
through
Australia.
things, right?
Yes.
You're right. And what the kids did and how they all got together and worked on things. And I was listening to the mom's words, which remind me of your words, Adriana, of helping each other to get through these times. And if you have a family that will work together, or if you're that mom, it was like these. I was like, oh man, I should have used those words in some of the times that we had some struggles, because it was so positive. But it's a great movie for people to. I love movies that are like that make you think and make you continue to think about how changes. And you see this family now where they're at, and it was because of them taking those chances, making those choices, and wanting change.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like they use the arts, of course, in this for their change to help them get through those places that they were struggling. It's kind of like I use the arts and I use nature for those experiences.
And when they got a little bit tense, it's just because of this character. I won't give it away, right? Tammy, we're not going to give it away, but this
No.
character got negative. This character got
Yes.
very negative, which is also
Depressed.
normal as humans. It's very normal. But this character got stuck in his own pride, in his own ways of thinking, and in very a negative, dark space. And the mom, like Tammy said, this character was very positive, very patient, and always hopeful and optimistic. And she transferred that energy to her kids. But I want to also give a shout out here, Tammy and Adriana. We have also Carrie Suvari. We have, let me see, who else do we have here? Natalia nodding. We have, oh my goodness, so many people. So ask questions to Adriana. She is a brain science expert. She is talking to us about adaptability during times of change, and how, with her book, Brain Science for the Soul, and how it's all connected. And I love her story. And if you just started watching with us, don't miss out that replay to hear part of her story. So welcome, everybody.
So, and what do you do for fun, Adriana?
I love I used to do Krav Maga and stuff, but then I had a car accident, kind of messed up my back a little bit. So I don't do those hard sports anymore, but I love gardening, and it's just so peaceful, and I see something grow. I try not to kill plants, but I
Hey!
I learn a lot. I learn a lot. It's like, oh, that one didn't really like this spot. So I move things. I learn from there. But and propagating. So anyway, I love nature. That's one of the things that I do to help center me. I do walks, of course, as well. And you know, that's it. Other things that I like to do is entertain. And so, just having people over and having a good time, nice wine, nice food, great company. Yeah. But I have two data points that I want to share because I think it's
Okay.
important. And that is that, everything that we were talking about, the change, and that we want to be able to adapt to change and have positive thinking. There is a flip side to that. There is, with relations to positive thinking, what we do need to be careful about is that it is pure, because there was the whole movement, I think, in the late 90s or early 2000s about like, oh, positive thinking, and just think positive. It's almost like Dory, just keep swimming, just keep swimming. Nemo, but it's like, just think positive. But that there is a term called toxic positivity. And that's when you're just purposely trying to put a mask or something over any issue. So not only is it harmful to yourself if you're being, if you are guilty of toxic positivity, because you're not dealing with your issues, you're only burying them. But the brain never forgets. It stays in there. Not only does it harm you, but it harms others. When working with others, if you have that mindset, it's like, I don't want to hear it. I just want to hear from people who are thinking positive. And I know people like that were hurting and had problems, financial problems, or all this other health problems stuff. And you'd ask, hey, how you doing? Oh, everything's great, and all this stuff. And it's like, they're not being authentic. Again, they're not aligning the truth with what they are trying to communicate, and that also erodes the soul. But let me give you, if that's okay, a data point with regards to the impact to society. Now, worldwide, just from a healthcare cost, but just depression alone economically will cost like a huge, like $210 billion annually. Just depression. This is not anxiety. This is not, other things, just depression. And a study from the World Economic Forum and Harvard School's public health forecasted that by 2030, the healthcare expenditure is going to be $6 trillion. Who pays for that? Typically, half companies pay for, and then the other, of course, the individuals pay for. That is a lot. That is a lot to deal with. Everyone is suffering from some kind of mental health issue, acute stress or anxiety and so forth. And they're not really, they don't know how to deal with it, how to go inside. And that's what I'm dedicating myself to doing, because I know how to do that. I've done that all my life. I've conquered a lot of adversities and change and unexpected things that I have my systems on how to work through that. And that's what I want to do. Keep teaching people how to do that, because this is not sustainable. Oh, over here. I was never a web. This is not sustainable. So it's so critical, because even just stress will make you or break you. And if
Right.
you don't know how to deal with it, it will break you. So I've pretty much stressed why. I mean, this is a vital issue. Companies and leaders have this huge responsibility to deal with that, but they can't deal with it just by saying, oh, let's just provide this training. And all the training does is like, try to be positive, set goals. I mean, it's all this really superficial things that are not effective. It doesn't really help a person change.
Well, I was going to throw this out there real quick. I was talking to somebody that's a specialist, a therapist. And what people forget is like the word anxiety. It's normal. Everybody has some anxiety. So if you're sitting here thinking you're the only one with anxiety, you're not. And it's normal and it's okay. But and the word anxiety has been made into a bad word when it's not. It's okay. I mean, it's like you said, we all have a little bit of stress, but when it's going overboard, you need to find those people who actually can help you and not label you, but help you. And I think we need to own it. We need to find out. I think it was Robin Banks who told me this, was when you're feeling anxious or stressed, find out what is the problem? What is causing that? What is the cause of it? Instead of, like you said, just putting stuff covering it up all the time. Am I right? So that's how I understood what they were telling me.
Yes, that is when they try to cover it up or ignore it. That's an avoidance coping mechanism, which is a dysfunctional way to cope. And so it's called avoidance coping.
It kind of can go along the toxic positive, like you're sugarcoating it, you're not being honestly and deeply hopeful or positive, you're just trying to,
Yes.
But then you have the other
bury the head in the
extreme that
sand.
where they make it out like, oh, I'm an anxiety. I have an anxiety problem, so I can't do anything, and they hide in a closet.
Paralyzes, yeah.
They paralyze. So I've seen extreme on both sides. So anyway,
I have a question here from Tammy Lillard or Lillard. Please correct me. She's saying, how can I retrain my brain after breast cancer treatment? I have been cancer free since 2019, but I fear so much it coming back. Okay, that's key, Adriana. I'm sure you know how to reply, but I love this. It's such a true concern and great question that it disrupts my everyday life. I fear every time I schedule my mammogram, and I want to free myself from this thinking. Do you have any advice for me? Yes, I'm sure Adriana has a lot of great advice for you, and me too. So, but we're gonna let Adriana answer.
So first of all, Tammy, congratulations. That is amazing. Good for you. And please know that from a general brain perspective, fear is one of the core emotions, and emotions are so powerful, and they can completely interfere with your executive function, which is your prefrontal cortex, and the rest of your brain, where you decide what you're going to do. So to put it in perspective, the toxic positivity is a behavior that stems from thinking, those dysfunctional coping mechanisms, which is the emotion that comes from the anxiety, and it could be fear-based as well. That dictates the behavior of your body, your senses, your language, everything. So because we are a whole system, brain, body, and everything in between, you want to manage the thoughts, because the brain is the architect of your mind. And if in your mind you have a certain thinking, it could be a label, it could be an emotion, like fear, it will architect the rest of your systems, including your body, to go in that direction. Your mind does not know whether it's a good thing or a bad thing. It just knows that it's in the mind. I'm not suggesting that you try to become, oh, I'm like so positive and that's it. Because what you want to do is have a good relationship with your emotions, fear, anger, anything else. Have a good relationship. Emotions are not bad. There's no such thing as a bad emotion. To be in the driver's seat, you need to have your emotion in the passenger seat and say, I hear you. I see you. Thank you for giving me that input. And you keep on going in your merry way where you want to go. Have a healthy life, be happy, the destination that you want. That is what should be first and foremost. Fears, anxieties, anger, any other kind of emotion that could sabotage you, it will try, because they're powerful, because they're almost egocentric and they want to take control. Don't let them take control. Acknowledge them. Don't cover or ignore them, because the more you ignore them, there's a saying, the more you resist, the more it persists. So don't ignore them, acknowledge them, have that relationship with those emotions. That means you're fearful. It's natural to be fearful. Okay, I've acknowledged you. And then keep on going, go through your tests and just look for the information. It's like, I'm going to get the information, the results. And that helps a lot. Just that in and of itself is a good way to deal with it. Hope
Love that advice, Adriana.
Yeah. A gentleman that I love dearly, my husband, he had a cancer diagnosis. He would think that what I did was woo woo and things like that, positive affirmations, and basically what Adriana was teaching. Despite what he thought, he eventually was forced to implement some of those things I believed in. He went to a doctor that was holistic, along with his other regular doctors, and he learned so much about different lifestyles. One of those, to this day, the other night, it's been like more than, it was 2017. I don't know, you do the math, almost 7 years or so. And he, up until this day, he listens to one of those apps. There's several apps out there about meditation apps. One is Calm, another one is Headspace, on how to calm the mind and think positively. What I did also was I cut out very cute little poster, like they were kind of sticker size 2x2s, Every cell in my body is healthy. I have energy. My body is healing every breath I take. I mean, just examples of affirmations. And I know it's deeper than that, right, Adriana? It's deeper than that. But if it even subconsciously, and what is it that they say that the movies have? The subliminal. My husband had those. I put them around his monitor. He works in IT, so he's sitting in front of his monitor all the time. I have some notes right now around my monitor, so it didn't disrupt the view of his monitor. And it was just affirmations around him. I have done affirmations in my dashboard, in the car. I mean, in my mirrors, about certain areas, not necessarily only on my health, but about certain areas. And I promise you, Tammy, if you give that a chance, it may change that daily stress that you have every day, thinking of that, which you already conquered, and you were already a champion. You already did amazing. You were strong. You showed to yourself that your body is strong, and you were very capable to, you had already done difficult things in the past, and you can do them again if something happens. But if not, you just let those thoughts go, acknowledge them, and then say, okay, you can go.
Well, and her questions, like a mother, acknowledge a child and then comforts the fear.
Yes,
Oh,
exactly.
there you go. Beautiful. Yes.
Because they are a part of you, the emotions, and they're not bad. They're not to be avoided. They're not something to fix. You don't fix emotions. You just acknowledge them, because, like I said, if you try to hide them or bury them, they will come back because they're not resolved. So if we all have gone through a lot of things, our own trials and tribulations. And if you just think, I have conquered so far, you to conquer. When you get to the point, that's just to put it in a sort of another perspective. Let's talk about aging, for example. I know people who are like angry because they were having wrinkles or something like that, or they can't do what they used to do, were younger. Well, I can't do my spinning kicks and all sorts of stuff, you
Why
know,
not?
used to do. And it's okay. It's like, it's like I champion people who are younger and they're learning, and I'm like, oh yes, because I know, what it takes. So it's not that you just give up, you just appreciate having had that. And now but then you appreciate other things that you have. Always have something that you're going to be able to give. I am sharing my wisdom with people so that they can have a better life and a better future. So I appreciate that. If you're in appreciation of what you're doing, because if you are giving value and you appreciate that you are doing that, you appreciate yourself, there is no missing, like, oh, when I was younger and I can't do that anymore, or it's like it's a
You're-
part of life. Kids, when they're like baby, you appreciate like a certain stage, and then they go through other stages, right? They grow, and then you appreciate different about them at each one of those stages.
Well,
Well,
you're only as old as you think you are, as your
right.
heart. I don't even think about age, to be honest, because I think when you start thinking of age, I remember when I turned 40, I had all these women, God bless their hearts, that said, you need to cut your hair off and go gray. And I'm like, what? Just stop taking care of yourself? And I'm like, no, that's not me. That's not my personality. I will always take care of myself and try to look my best. That's just me. I don't, to me, if that's what they want, that's what they want. But I like to hang out with positive people. Now I see Suzanne has a question on here for us as well. Lori, did you want to read it?
Is it the one that says, I have been having pain from 2 right shoulder surgeries, land neck surgery?
Yes.
It's been almost 4 years. I have tried every modality to get relief. Nothing has helped. I have been feeling really depressed. I feel there's no hope for me. Oh my goodness, Suzanne, thanks for sharing. This is super brave and courageous of you, and we love your trust. We love that you opened up here with us. Thank you, and we're sorry about that pain. Let's see what answer Adriana has.
Yep. Well, of course, I'm not an orthopedic surgeon, or I don't even play one on TV. But Suzanne, thank you so much for sharing that with us, and I'm sorry that you are in pain. Uh, without knowing anything else, and I don't know exactly what you've tried, there there are we are a complete system. So what's in your brain and in your mind is what your body is going to react to, and vice versa. Your body has some issue or senses something, and it goes to the brain. So there's always communication, to the extent that um, you start to think in a certain way, like, I'm going to lose hope. Well, the brain's like, okay, as you wish. And, it's, of course, I'm being a little, facetious about that. But again, the brain is the architect of your mind. And the brain will work on things that you basically are telling and thinking. So um, I can share just from that perspective. I know that things like stress, which is will affect your body. It's going to show up in your body in one way or another. Emotions like, fear, losing hope about things, those are very powerful, and they become realities the more you reinforce them. Um, I don't know what else you have tried. I know that there is one person that I know that does pain to power, and that's Cecile. We may,
Yeah, Cecile, we had her.
Right.
yes, I know you know her, and she, I took one of her courses, and it was just amazing. So, I am more, again, coming from as a martial artist. I don't stop. I'm always like going like fast, fast, fast. And it was amazing how just simple things like relaxing your jaw
Mhm.
made a difference in the body. And it just in one of the sessions, and I stood up, and I was feeling really strong. So the body needs to be able to rest. It needs to be able to heal itself. The body's amazing. We can heal ourselves. And with the help of our mind, we can make huge strides in healing. There's all sorts of stories out there about how the mind can help heal the body. Maybe getting inspiration from some of that in going in that direction. So putting the effort into that versus putting the effort into, losing hope and getting discouraged, and in just focusing on the pain.
So
That's
I'm going
so
to answer this question a little bit too, since I have major nerve damage I've had since I was 22, and 40% and 60% in my shoulders and my back. I was never supposed to be able to do art. So that is why I had written my book, The Power of Art and Nature. I know what it's like. I mean, when it rains, I mean, I'm dealing with it like like I tell my husband, it's like everything in my body hurts. Every little fingertip, I can feel every nerve. It is not fun, Susan, and I understand that. But for pain, man, but when I notice the most pain is when I'm sitting there feeling sorry for myself or watching a show. But I try to take those times that I use my tensor machines, or you get massages. You do different things to get your mind off of it. Going out gardening, you have to still exercise. If you don't exercise and stretch, it's just going to get worse. So when you go out and you're gardening, like Adriana said, it helps because your mind's thinking about those plants. Or when you're going on a walk and you're noticing the birds in the skies, or the different leaves coming out, or the flowers blooming, you're noticing that, so you're not concentrating on your pain. Or when you're working on an art piece or a painting or something like that, you're not concentrating on your pain. And when you're not concentrating on your pain, you're not tensing up. Because we have such a bad habit of tensing up, like Adrienne said. You tense up your chins, your mouths, your jaws, your muscles, and you don't even realize it. But when we're taking our mind off of that, that's our pain management. And it helps you to get through those days. And besides, it's so beautiful outside, and it's taking your mind off of depression and stress and anxiety. And so it's helping you in those ways as well. So I hope that helps.
That definitely helps, Tammy, to redirect our energy and our focus to things that we do have, things that do feel good in our body. I wanted to share, if you remember our guest, Sandra Crook, she came here with a lot of soul and a lot of insights and wonderful wisdom. And she said that when she was mourning the loss of her daughter, which that is extremely hard, some of her children that were still with her were like, Mom, you are forgetting about us. You're focusing so much in her that you're forgetting about us who are still here with you. And with that same principle that Tammy is sharing, focusing on what we do have, focusing on what does feel well and what we're grateful for, and what those around us, it's amazing. Also Tammy and I have been with each other when she is experiencing some migraines, or sometimes it's me, a little bit of a headache, can't compare to Tammy's, I'm sure. But then at the end of our conversation or our interaction or our working session, she's like, oh, I feel better. I think it's because of that power of community, of relationships, positive relationships, working for a cause together, also brings a lot. So Susan, the fact that you're here in this community, you attended the VIP session of the retreat, you're here with us right now, that means a lot. That means you appreciate this community, you want to draw from it, and you ask a question, an honest question. And to me, I hope you're already feeling better or less pain, or being here with us have distracted you from it, because pain is real. It is real. And with clinical hypnosis, I've been able to help people manage it, but I do understand it's real. So anyways, I know that time goes by so fast when we were having fun. And we are having,
yes, it has.
If you notice the time, we've been loving the fact that some of you have stayed here the whole time with us, with this great conversation we've had with Adriana. So we want to say thank you, Adriana. This has been amazing. And if there's any last remarks you want to share with us with your wonderful nuggets of wisdom, go ahead.
Thank you. Yes, absolutely. I want to summarize.
You, Adriana, can you hear her, Tammy?
I can. So I can hear you, Adriana.
Okay, you can hear me now?
I can't hear.
Okay.
I can hear you.
I didn't change anything on my side.
Hey, we've had it happen to me, the sound go out completely. So go ahead and share, and hopefully it's being recorded. So Lori can. Okay,
so I wanted to just sort of, as we close this wonderful conversation we've been having, is one of the things I want to continue to promote is to seek challenges deliberately. If you seek challenges every time, you will learn to adapt and learn to conquer. Means you will grow. And the next thing is, playing it safe is not safe at all. That's like the koi fish that is protected and stable and doesn't know how to deal with challenges. All of a sudden, they're in a challenging situation and they don't know how to handle it. They can pray right away. So stay away from toxic positivity. Be true to yourself. Hear others when they have, when they want to express their, emotions, and provide a safe place. And then nature teaches us that tension helps us survive and evolve. So tension is good. Stress is good. It can make you or break you, but you want to be in the driver's seat. of that, where you dictate to go. And with that, I wanted to share that I offered 3 free chapters of my book, Brain Science for the Soul, and you can download them. Just go to this URL, bit.ly/Vela Books. And then I also want to offer you, because we talked about stress and how that can make us or break us. I do a giveaway, once a month for a free stress quotient assessment. This is usually like $300, but it measures the types of stress in 17 different categories, so you can understand where this might be coming from, instead of just saying, well, it's stress, and you might think, well, it's work, but it might not be there. It might be something else that then you carry around, and you just say, it must be work. So I do this giveaway. Sign up, go to Fix My Stress for free, and that will allow you to enter into that. So again, it'll be free. And if you want to email me, here's my email address. So with that, I just want to say thank you so much for having me. Thank you so much for the wonderful audience and the questions. And I think that's it. That's all for me.
Awesome.
It's amazing.
We'll put that on the forum, of course. I did have one of them on there already, so people could link up with you. And of course, put your questions there for Adriana or Lori or I, and we will answer them. So we love being able to help you. And if you know anybody else who you think would love being here and being in our group, be sure to encourage them and welcome them, invite them. So we love being able to help. And if you have a positive quote or something that you want to share, go ahead and you can post it or send it to us directly, and we will share it on there. Because sometimes Facebook, like I said, works so that you can share. It's set up so you can share, but sometimes, as Ike knows, it doesn't always let you share. So, and also, before we leave, I want to announce, so if you are interested in coming to our retreat in Idaho
yes.
in July, please direct message us. We are going to have a sign up next week. We are having our friend Mary Beth from our travel agency partner on here as well. And we are going to be talking about our different adventures and retreats that we have coming up.
But Tammy, I am so excited about this one coming up. It's a connection adventure. Connection adventures. People fly at their own on their own terms, lodge on their own terms. But the fun part is connecting with each other. And this is so exciting because it's in your property. We're gonna get to cook. If you like to cook with Tammy's organic vegetables, if you like to get on a beautiful sites like a beautiful lake that she is going to
we're
take
planning
us
on going boating for half a day at least. So
yes so
yeah.
I am so excited. Tammy and I have been planning. You don't know how how much time we spend talking about you, thinking of ways to make you happy, make this ourselves available for this community. And we can't wait until that happens in July. So if you have questions, please ask them in the comments.
Yeah.
We are very excited to, and next Tuesday is when
That's
we're gonna launch
July.
it.
Yeah, and that's July 11th, 12th, and 13th. And if somebody can't make it for the 3 days, we will allow you to come in on the one day. But like Lori said, we're having nature walks, discovery sessions. I'm doing an art thing with people. We're letting you go to the garden and learn about vegetables and herbs, or how to cook them, and spending time in nature. And one of the days is out on the lake. So we have a lot of plans because these are what people come to